Hi BookTube. I'm here today to talk about my reading. I've been very dissatisfied with my month-to-month reading. I feel like I've been putting a lot of effort into things and not seeing a lot of results. Like, I feel like I'm reading, at least an hour or two every night. Some nights I'm reading like 4 or 5 hours and I'm just not finishing things. I'm DNFing a lot of stuff. I'm looking at my monthly TBRs and going, I want to read all of it, I don't want to read any of it, because, you read 15 books at once, you're not going to finish them. That's just what I've learned. So I'm going to approach my reading differently now. I don't want to do monthly readings anymore. I'm going to read 5 books at a time and just leave it at that. And as soon as I finish 2 or 3, put another 2 or 3 on the reading list. So I'm still going to try and play my TBR game because I really enjoy that. But I think what I'm going to do going forward is read or pick out 10 books from that game, and choose only 5, and then as I finish books and put more books on, I'll use the cards and the prompts to pick the next books that I'll be reading. Yeah, I hope that makes sense. So I'm just going to introduce the 5 that I'm currently reading because I don't know if any of them were on my July TBR. Yeah, my July TBR just went out the window. Yeah, so I'll introduce those 5 books right now. The first one is this one, my most anticipated release this year. Actually, the only release I was looking forward to this year. I don't really follow a lot of new releases, but this one. My favorite book from a few years ago was I'm trying to see it right here. The Rise and Fall of the Dinosaurs by Steve Brusatte. I follow him on Twitter and saw that he was coming out with this one, The Rise and Reign of the Mammals. And that's a question I've been asking a lot. Is this like the ancestors of humans were alive during the times of the dinosaurs? What were those ancestors? And yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. I've already learned that fact, and I'm satisfied with the book already. But I want to learn more about it. Yeah, he has this way. He begins every chapter with like a story about early mammal ancestors and early mammals, and then that kind of explains the concept in this kind of fictional sense, but based in reality and real science. And then he goes on and explains the science more in depth. And it's like everyone he introduces feels like a character, like feels like a real person. It's not just like this random person did this. It's like this person is like this and this is what they do and they're so interesting in this way and here's what they contributed to the science. I love the way that he writes that. Yeah, I'm gonna do this thing that I like doing where I go to the last thing I tagged and read it. Oh yes, okay. Adam described a peculiar evolutionary phenomenon that happened during and after the extinction. The Lilliput effect, named after the fictional island in Gulliver's Travels inhabited by tiny humans. The Lilliput effect is a decrease in body size in animals that survive the mass extinction and prosper afterwards. Yeah, so I thought that was cool. Just learning about how mammals came to be. The other book I'm reading is Misquoting Jesus by Bart Ehrman. This is a reread for me, but I hadn't read it. It was released in 2000. What year were you released? Sorry. Wow. I think it was 2008 or 2009. 2005. Okay. So a lot sooner than I thought it did. 2005, and I read it probably soon after it was released. And this is about the story behind who changed the Bible and why. He started out wanting to study the Bible, being told his whole life that, not his whole life, but being told that the KJV is like the one and only like version of the Bible that we should be reading. And he's like, what's the originals? And he's going looking for the original text of the Bibles and discovering like it's a lot more complicated than you think it could be because of how much it was copied, and the mistakes that could happen just from copying a text. Anyone does that. You can mistake one word for another, or, you know, change a letter, or saying this word doesn't quite make sense, so I'm going to put this word in instead. And then like purposeful changes to make it fit your own beliefs. Yeah, it's a really interesting book about the Bible. And this last quote here is, oh, okay. Where does it start? Okay, it's talking about Matthew's Gospel, which starts with the father of the Jews, Abraham, and chases Jesus' line from father to son all the way down to Jacob, who was the father of Joseph, the husband of Mary, from whom was born Jesus, who is called Christ. As it stands, the genealogy already treats Jesus as an exceptional case, in that he is not to be the son of Joseph. For some scribes, however, that was not enough, and so they changed the text to read Jacob, who was the father of Joseph, to whom, being betrothed, the Virgin Mary gave birth to Jesus, who is called Christ. Now Joseph is not even called Mary's husband, but only her betrothed, and she is clearly stated to be a virgin, an important point for many early scribes. So, yeah, that was interesting change to the Bible. Yeah, I really am enjoying this again. The next one I'm reading is a library book. Disorientation, Being Black in the World by Ian Williams. He wrote one of my favorite books called Reproduction. Right here on the shelf. Reproduction by Ian Williams. Yeah, and so when I saw this, I thought it was really interesting because he's talking about being black in a whole bunch of different contexts. You know, he's was born in Trinidad, moved to Canada, lived in the States for a while, so he has this experience in like 3 different contexts, being black and his experiences as that. Yeah, it's bringing up some ideas that I hadn't, like, I've read a lot of books on race, and know a lot of stuff from online and stuff, and he's bringing up concepts that I've never considered before. This is really good, and the way he does it sometimes, there's one section where he changes the orientation of the text, if I can find it here. Oh yeah, so it starts to go sideways, and then further along it's upside down. So he's trying to create this disorienting effect, talking about disorientation in regards to race. Yeah, it's really, really good. I kind of want my own copy so that I can just take everything. Oh, this was an interesting concept here. Here's the truth about looking for a white ancestor. I want to find him so I can track down his descendants and see how wealthy they are, how mobile, how many passports they hold, how ignorant they are of me, how slavery has been used for them like a disposable straw, useful at the time, utterly forgetful now that they are nourished. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, definitely suggest you read that. And then I'm also reading Raven Stratagem by Yoon Lee and 9 Fox Gambit. No, it's not. It's over here somewhere. Like I know where all these books are. 9 Fox Gambit was one of my favorite books from last year, so I knew I was going to read the sequel. That's why I bought it in physical copy. Yeah, this is about a general who's been kept alive for a really long time. It's hard to explain without giving spoilers. And he's being used by these people to win this war. And then things go wrong, obviously. Yeah, and in this one, we follow some different people from the first one, except we still have Jadao, who's that general. Oh, okay. This is interesting. They're talking about wiping out a class of people, like a whole culture of people, race of people. That's the word I'm looking for. You shouldn't have bothered me, just said, too upset to be careful about formality levels all over again. The Muendanera, she stopped, rephrased. There won't be enough of us left. Our traditions will die. Considering that we're supposed to be tidy piles of ash, it's not as if we can teach them to anyone else. And I just thought that was really interesting. I'm really enjoying this book. Yeah, really enjoying this one. And then the last book I'm reading, finally, I started this in July of last year, but it takes me so long to get into Malazam. Not to get into it, but to finish it. just because it requires a lot. A lot happens, a lot of distressing things happen. The words are so beautiful that I want to spend more time with them, so yeah, it's amazing. This is book 5 in the series, but we are in the far past, and it's interesting. Book 5, page 751 of a 900-page book. And we finally get the magic system laid out for us, explained, like an info dump. Finally, it's like the first info dump that's ever happened in these books, as far as I can recall. It's mostly just, he just throws you in the world and says, ha, deal with it. These people know what's going on, you're not going to have any guides, you just have to kind of go with the flow and figure it out as you go along. This one finally has an explanation of the magic system. Yeah, but you kind of like, just go with it. Yeah, Malazam is about an empire, and the soldiers fighting. I wouldn't say just on both sides, because there's more than 2 sides to every story. Like, it's so complex, so amazing. The world building is astounding. Even though I said the magic system isn't explained until book 5, like 750 pages in, but you kind of get it, but it's not fully laid out until now. And yeah, this one we follow the Tiste Urder and the little theory people and the people that come in contact with them and their interactions, and I can't fully explain it, and the back doesn't fully explain it, and it gives spoilers, so just trust me that this is an epic fantasy series, that if you're into any kind of fantasy, you should definitely read these. And this quote is, Udanas risked a glance away as he said, "It is right to fear then, Emperor." "It is, explain," the Emperor said. Fear bespeaks of wisdom, recognition of responsibility." Wisdom, yes, it must be so, mustn't it? We had not considered that before. We fear because we are becoming wise. Yeah, I'm just thoroughly enjoying this, and I kind of spoiled myself because I went out and bought the next book and read the back a little. So I know kind of what happens in this book, but I don't know how it happens. So that counts for something, right? Yeah, I'm so excited to see what happens with our characters here. Yeah, he just has a way with characters too. Like, I can't think of any cons about the Malazam books besides the fact that they require so much of the reader to pay attention and to just go with it. Yeah, that's it. Those are the 5 books I'm reading now.